All right, Will. The ideal draft for you, the dream draft, right? And you can include trades in this. You can include just sticking and picking. What would be the Will Parkinson dream draft for the 2026 New York Jets?
I put this one out on Twitter, and I think this might be my final mock. Reese, Lemon, McNeil, Warren, Pons, Sam Roush at 103. Two playmakers on offense. I got to compliment Mason Taylor. Got to compliment Garrett Wilson. Long-term deep third safety option. Long-term ass kicker at corner. And you get an edge rusher that can be your weapon on defense. Be pretty hard to argue with that. I don't know if dream you could, if you want to, substitute around, Rodriguez instead of Pons or something like that. Open to it, Zion Young instead of McNeil Warren. Those are all fair. But Roush, guy knows. I don't know if he'll get to 103, but if he does, guy who knows Frank Reich's offense really well. Obviously, coached them, big, athletic, high upside tight end to go alongside Taylor and Ruckert. That room now looks really, really solid. Lemon, along with Garrett, AD, Isaiah Williams is your gadget player. Maybe you draft a guy on day 3. Draft Jeff Caldwell on day 3 out of Cincinnati in the 5th round, who's like 6'4", an athletic freak, but needs refinement. Your receiver room looks really good. Safety, your safety room, man, is McNeil, Warren, Minka, Belton, and Malachi. Really, really solid room. You feel really good in short term and long term. Pons, can he play? He can play the nickel, can play outside. I will say, man, a lot of the things, he's small. A lot of Jets fans were very upset DJ Reed walked and very upset when they lost DJ Reed. Pons is 2 or 3 tenths of a second faster than DJ Reed. Far better player. It's not close. And you're likely going to be moving on from Brandon Stevens at the end of the year. Nahshon Wright's on a 1 year. Azaria played 4 games. So corner is more of a need. Brownlee played 2 good games, 2 horrible games. Corner is a need. And if he can be bring some of what Indiana was doing in college, which is unbelievable, great turnovers. The guy a lot of Jets fans wanted, Dante Moore's first pass to the college football playoff semifinal, was D'Angelo Pons pick-sixing Dante Moore, making him look terrible, right? So, if you got that value at 44, so I don't know if you want to tell me it's the dream draft or whatever. Colton Hood's another name, but I think he'll probably be gone by then. But yeah, I think I'm going to probably lean on my dream draft where I'm the Jets get an A. I think if they address their secondary long-term and instant impact guys, Pons might just start year 1 and be better than all those other corners. McNeil Warren will start, I think, year 1 and be a really good playmaker. Those are 2 playmakers on the back end with Minka. Your turnover rate, Nahshon Wright led the league in picks. Minka's been a turnover machine. Pons was a turnover machine in college. McNeil Warren was a turnover machine in college. You're adding the best athlete in the draft, potentially in the draft, in Reese. And then you add Lemon, who is the Blitnikoff winner, and Sam Roush, who's a really good high upside tight end at 103. I don't know what's the argument. I guess maybe you could argue who at corner, but I feel pretty good about even split offense, defense, guys who score touchdowns and guys who take the football away and hit the quarterback. It's kind of hard to argue there.
That's the dream draft. What's the nightmare draft for Will Parkinson?
If I'm going realistic, nightmare draft is they just fool us all and just take Caleb Downs at 2 without a plan for edge rusher. And then they take Keldrick Falk at 16. And they're we're going to be physical. And it's okay, well, you didn't solve pass rusher and you haven't solved you haven't solved offense yet. And then at 33, they're well, we're going to take, we're going to take Chris Brazzell at 33 because even though there's tons of questions, we're just going to do the Denzel Mims thing where it's he can run vertical. And then at 44, they take Carson Beck. I genuinely think I would storm one Jets drive. And I individually, Caleb Downs is a top 5 player, amazing guy in this class. Falk's a really fun player that needs 2 to 3 years of seasoning. We've talked about Beck, and I really like the idea of what Brazzell is, but man, that would be it'd be tough to stomach. It would, and it would be way overdrafting on consensus and those different things. I would really hate that.
Ty Simpson at 16. Is that a nightmare scenario for you, or do you like it?
They would tell me that the Jets are in love with him and that they think that he could be a franchise guy, and you'd probably get bought in. I would still be like, what the hell is the answer at receiver? And what the hell is the answer at safety and corner and linebacker and stuff like that? But if they took Ty at 16, fine. I would need to hear full confidence and know there's full confidence from Muji, Glenn, and Woody and Brick, and all those guys are all on the same page.
That's why I don't think they're going to do it, by the way, because I don't get the sense there is.
I don't want, dude, I talked to this last night. I don't want the friction of what the Giants just went through. Dable wanted Dart, and Shane obviously didn't. And, you know, Dable got his guy, and he's worked out, and he still got fired. And now the Giants have a lame duck GM with a new head coach, and ownership's all over the place. And that would suck. And then, like, you're just in a bad spot, man. And what if you're like, as much as we give the Saints props, what if, you know, we're Shuck's bad this year? And then it's like, all right, well, now we're in year 3 of this. He was good one year, bad the other, or he's just okay this year. Do we take a quarterback now? I just feel like build this roster, make it as good as humanly possible for next year, and kind of go from there.
All right, here's a fun one before we wrap up, because you love the draft. You're so knowledgeable, not just on the Jets, but on the rest of the league. Who are your guys in this draft class? Not maybe the best players, but when you're breaking down tape and watching all the different options for all these teams across the league, who are the Will Parkinson favorite guys, dudes in this draft?
I mean, obviously I've talked about Lemon. I'll be slightly biased here. I think Grayson Halton and R. Mason Thomas are two guys that they probably won't be Jets. Maybe Halton will. I doubt R. Mason Thomas will. But, like, I don't know, man. They played in the most complex scheme in college football, and they just beat people up. Owen Heineke would have been one of my guys, but he's back in college now after he won his appeal yesterday.
For those who don't know, Will's brother works for the Oklahoma Sooner football program.
Yeah, that's why I did give a couple OU shout outs there. In terms of some of my other guys, I would say, like, I don't know. I love McNeil Warren. I think that there's that playmaking ability. I know he's a small school guy, but some of that makes a lot of sense. Ted Hurst is another one I really like. I know
Senior Bowl.
Ted Hurst had big time, you mentioned one of them, big time NIL college football playoff level offers to move. And he went back to school and he tore it up. And he came to Mobile and did some of the same, which was really impressive to see. I would say Joey Aguilar is my guy of quarterbacks, but this is like round 7. But he feels like the guy that plays 4 games a year. He does like the Ray Lucas, like comes in for a couple of games. It's like fun, older prospect, and you're not expecting a ton. But, like, for whatever reason, he played for the Jets and they took him in round 7. He had to play 3 games next year. Could the Jets win 1 or 2? And, like, he'll probably turn it over a ton. Well, he'll throw a bunch of bombs and, he'll have a lot of, like, moxie and whatever. He's like a fun backup quarterback long term. Trying to think now. I'm like blanking out on some of my guys here, but no, I don't know. A couple of those make sense. I don't want to go with some of the chalk ones. Like, everyone really, this is a really fun one. Local guy. It'd be cool if he was a Giant or a Jet, just like, local North Jersey kid and played high school here. And
Zion Young.
Zion Young's another one. Yeah. I was just trying to look through Zion Young. Jeff Caldwell's another one. I put out a list the other day. Bud Clark I really like. I'm trying to think of a couple other ones. I don't want to keep going Oklahoma guys. I like Robert Spears Jennings, ran 4 threes, which was nuts. He picked Joey Aguilar off twice. But Roush is another one I really like. I would say those are some of the guys. Roush, I think, would 103 be really, really impressive value.
All right, let's have some fun with this final one. Positive Jet memories. Your favorite Jet-related draft memory?
Ooh, I would say Darnold, to be honest.
That's what Evan Roberts said. I just taped an interview with him.
The one year I went to the draft in MetLife, they were picking, and the Browns were up. There's like no service in MetLife, or there used to be no service in MetLife, as everyone knows. So I couldn't really refresh Twitter. So I didn't even see Baker went 1 outside of like when they were playing it. So I was like, holy bleep, like Darnold's not going 1. And then I'm like, oh, of course the Giants are going to take my favorite college quarterback. Everyone knows I'm a USC fan. Obviously, you can see the USC stuff back there. And then I'm like, dude, the Jets are on the clock. Like, do not take Josh Rosen. They take Darnold, and I was just like, this is one of the coolest things of all time. Honorable mention, the Brick and Mangold draft was just so cool because at that time, the draft was in New York, and then on top of that, the next day, it was just to be cool. You'd even as a kid, you'd like read the newspaper, and it was like a really big deal to open the newspaper in New York. the next day and see the breakdown of these prospects. Because again, I was 11 years old. It's not like I wasn't grinding tape yet. But I just remember being like, talk to your family and your friends, and you're like, oh, offensive line's so boring. And then it's like immediately playoff success, getting in the playoffs because of the offensive line. So those are just some ones that for me stick out. Obviously, Keyshawn, I was like 4 years old, but I got my Keyshawn jersey and action figure when I was like 3 or 4 years old. That was the coolest thing of all time. So I don't remember draft day, but watching back, I think if I could have gone back and relived the Jets taking a receiver from USC 1 overall, I think I would have been quite happy.
I think the Darnold draft is so special for Jet fans because
we thought it finally happened.
And like just the journey to get there. I talked about this with Evan Roberts. And for those who are curious, the full interview with Evan will air on Wednesday morning, the day before the draft, because I'm traveling to Pittsburgh for our draft party that morning. So to give you guys content, you'll hear a full Jets draft preview with Evan, a little teaser for next week. But we were talking about this earlier, just the idea that the whole year was the suck for Sam, and then they actually started 3-2 with McCown, and then here's Cleveland at 1, the Giants at 2. The Jets had to trade up from 6-3 with the Colts just to get Sam, who was the guy all along. We needed the luck for him to fall into the Jets' lap. And I just think that moment for many Jet fans was like, we finally got the guy. And you know what? Sam was the right pick. They just screwed him. And that's ultimately what happened.
God damn it.
All right, Asmaniacs, listen up for a second. No matter what you're watching, whether it's New York sports or any game you didn't plan on caring about, there's no better way to stay locked in than with PrizePicks. It's daily fantasy made simple. You're just picking more or less on player projections. That's it. No complicated lineups, no nonsense. Just you versus the numbers. And here's why I love it. Even if it's a game you normally wouldn't care about, once you got a lineup going, you're locked in. Every play matters, every drive matters, every at-bat matters. I've been mixing sports too. Maybe a little football, throwing some baseball, maybe some basketball, and now you've got action across the board all night, and PrizePicks makes it even better with features like early cash outs if your picks are hitting, the ability to mix multiple sports in one lineup, and you can even see what other people are playing and tail their picks. So if you haven't tried it yet, what are you doing? Download the PrizePicks app right now. Use code HMA. That's HMA, and you'll get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, it's HMA on PrizePicks. PrizePicks, where it always feels good to be right. Chat from JJ. He's in the raffle for 4 with this. Thank you very much, JJ. Jake, what are the odds with the Jets draft history that whoever we take at 2 or 16 ends up being Hall of Fame quality? That being said, why aren't we taking Simpson serious? Is it really that bad to take a swing this year, draft again in 27? So this is a two-parter here. We'll do the first part first. I mean, any team drafting a Hall of Famer, the odds are extremely low. Think about what you just said, JJ. You're drafting a Hall of Famer. It's so hard to make the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And sometimes there's luck involved in it too. You need to be healthy to pull it off. There's guys that were on Hall of Fame arcs that didn't stay. Odell Beckham was on a Hall of Fame arc until his career got ruined with several serious knee injuries. Like, that's just how it goes. So that's the first thing. Like, no team has a great track record of drafting Hall of Fame quality players. The odds of it that they hit on 2 and 16 and they're Hall of Famers, unlikely. When you're drafting in the top 3, though, the goal is to try and find the next gold jacket guy, but that's the goal. That's not like the barometer of whether or not that pick is successful or not.
Right. I was going to say, whoever they take at 2, there's a world where he's not a Hall of Famer, but still a very good draft pick for the Jets, right? Like they took DeBrickashaw Ferguson. What was that, with the 4th pick?
Yeah, great job.
2006. Ring of Honor Jet, not a Hall of Famer, though. I don't think anyone's complaining about that being the selection at pick 4. So I don't necessarily agree that they have to be a Hall of Famer.
And then the second part is, why aren't we taking Simpson serious? I think we are taking it serious. We had months of debate around Ty Simpson. I just think there's enough out there that it's obvious the Jets are not taking him at 16. Like, they like him, they don't love him. Or if they like him, but they're not sure, they wouldn't burn the 16th pick. They set themselves up to have 3 picks in 2027 for a reason. So unless they're in full bloom love with Ty, they're not going to take him at 16. Could they draft him in the 2nd round if he's there? I don't rule that out completely. But I think the reason why most Jet fans don't want to take the swing on Ty is because if you're taking a swing in the 1st round, that totally changes the whole trajectory of this year and then next year. Like, when does Ty play? How many games does he get in? Can you form a proper evaluation of him? If you're not sure, well, then you kind of burnt the pick, and then you're drafting a quarterback next year. Is there a new coaching staff coming in? If that happens, they have no allegiance to Ty Simpson. Now, maybe he plays great like Jackson Dart did at times, and that makes the job attractive for a guy like Harbaugh, but you can't bank on that. I just think if you're the Jets and Muji set you up to have 3 picks in 2027 in a loaded draft class that's supposed to have a ton of QBs, that is the move rather than reach for Ty Simpson, unless you are in full bloom love with the guy. And I don't think anyone gets the sense the Jets are in full bloom love with Ty Simpson.
No, I don't think so either. And I would say they are taking it seriously. They met with him. They sent a bunch of people to the pro day. The Jets have done their due diligence on really all these quarterbacks. So I think they are taking the quarterback evaluation seriously, and they haven't really let it out what their take is on it. So unfortunately, I've said this before too on the show. I think it's a wait and see. We're just gonna have to wait till we get to draft weekend and see what direction they go. I think they'll take one at some point, but I would be surprised if they take the swing on Ty Simpson personally.
If he's there at 33, would you take him?
I'd trade down. I'd hope someone else wants to move up for him.
I think that's where I'm at. If he's there at 44, I would take him.
Yeah, that's a little different, right? But I don't think he makes it to 44.
Probably not. But that would be like the earliest I think I would take him at this point.
Yeah, I agree.
Bino writes in, Kraft may actually get VIP access to Sue Young's Rubbin now. Thank you very much, Bino, for the $5 super chat.
Amazing.
Fallon writes in, 16 and 44, rather get 2 wide receivers than trade for Tate. And that's fair. Which receiver are you drafting at 16, though, Fallon? It's easier said than done because you look at the way it could play out. If you like Mekhi Lemon, he might not be there. You like Jordan Tyson, he might not be there. In fact, I don't think he will. Tate will most certainly not be there. So then you're looking at Omar Cooper Jr., Denzel Boston, Casey Concepcion. Do you take Kenyon Sadiq, who's a tight end, but is basically a giant slot in the offense? Like, that's the risk. Unless you know for sure, hey, Lemon's going to be there. Hey, Tyson's going to be there, or we love Omar Cooper. That's the risk if you don't move up. And maybe you don't have to move up all the way to 7. Maybe you move up to 10 or 11. It's a little cheaper than the proposed deal to go all the way to 7. But I think the Jets are going to look to be aggressive if they've identified one guy they clearly think is the best receiver.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I don't think Fallon family's quote here or take is necessarily wrong. It's just I think it really depends on what your evaluation of these receivers are. If you're comfortable with Omar Cooper Jr., if you like Denzel Boston a lot and want to take him at 16, and then are fine to take another swing at 22, then at 44, excuse me, then by all means you can go about doing it. It's just, I think we're talking about this scenario under the stipulation that the Jets really like Carnell Tate and they have the ammo to move around. So if they love him and think he's an impact guy, then I don't have any issue with it personally.
Big debate continues to be David Bailey or Arvell Reese. Peter Schrager on his X account broke down each prospect, and I found this to be enlightening. I'll play it, and then we will react on the other side. Plus, load up your calls, open phone lines for the rest of the show. Make sure you click that link that's pinned in the live chat if you want in on the conversation.
Bailey or Reese? Reese or Bailey? The second overall pick, that's the debate that the New York Jets are currently having in their draft room. It's also the debate happening online with Jets fans. Now, I personally gave the Jets David Bailey in my latest mock draft, and that's based on what I've been hearing. And it sounds like others are too. Daniel Jeremiah's got him going number 2 with Bailey, and so does Albert Breer. But using the Ask NFL IQ Assistant powered by Amazon Quick, I put the question in as follows. How did David Bailey's production compare to Arvell Reese's last year? And after a few minutes, we learned that Bailey had a next-gen production score of 98. This is a near elite production score, indicating exceptional college football output. Bailey tied for the FBS lead with 14.5 sacks last year. He ranked second with 19.5 tackles for a loss. He played in all 14 games, and he had 3 forced fumbles. It's one of the all-time great college football seasons from a pass rusher. He's also polished and a master of technique, and the proof is in the pudding when you turn on the film. Now, while Reese also posted solid production numbers at Ohio State and an 84 production score, it doesn't come close to the elite 98 production production score, and it's why many people have Bailey going before Reese as more of a finished product by the scouts. However, it's worth noting that Reese's overall versatility, that he could play both on and off the ball, adds dimensions to his game that maybe Bailey doesn't have. Reese also ran a 4.46 40 at the combine, which is exceptional for a 240-pound edge defender. Asking the same Ask NFL IQ assistant, I typed in, what's Arvell Reese got going for him? And we get the following. Under the headline that says developmental upside, per the IQ assistant, we see a suggested year 2 projection spike, meaning his year 2 performance projection, 59.7%, is notably higher than year 1, 32.7%, which suggests that scouts view him as a player who will grow significantly once he adjusts to the pro game and adds strength to his body. Remember, he's 20 years old. Per the same site, Reese's combination of elite athleticism, positional versatility, solid production, and high NFL starter probability makes him a safe bet to become a, quote, quality NFL starter with legitimate Pro Bowl upside, end quote. His ability to play both linebacker and edge rusher in multiple schemes is a rare trait that adds tremendous upside. Trying to put some context around this Reese versus Bailey debate, I then asked the following question to the AI assistant. I said, what's the best comparison from recent drafts when pitting Reese versus Bailey? Reese versus Bailey mirrors the classic versatility versus production debate that we have seen in so many recent edge rusher classes. And Arvell Reese is similar to prospects like, I don't know, Micah Parsons, 2021, or Isaiah Simmons in 2020, while David Bailey is more comparable to Aiden Hutchinson in 2022, or get this, Myles Garrett in 2017. The first is an elite athlete with positional versatility. The second is a pure edge rusher with elite production who's rush ready. According to the AI assistant, we see that Bailey's production score of 98 out of 100 is near the top of the scale, reflecting his ability to consistently generate sacks and disruptive plays, much like Aiden Hutchinson's dominant final season at Michigan. The key difference is this, and this comes from the Next Gen site, and all of this is powered by Amazon Quick. Reese equals a higher ceiling with a developmental upside and scheme versatility. Bailey equals higher floor, more polished, and an immediate impact in year 1. It's a tough call for Darren Muji, who's got the number 2 overall pick for the New York Jets. But Muj, you're on the clock.
Wouldn't it be nice if this situation was like other drafts where it's so obvious who the next best non-player is that's not the quarterback, right? A couple of years ago, the Texans, they traded up for Will Anderson. Everyone knew Will Anderson was the next guy up. Like it was going to go quarterback with Bryce Young, then Stroud, and then it was Will Anderson. Like you knew. A lot of times you know. It's a tough debate, and while Bailey is really good, some of the concerns against the run are real, and you already drafted Will McDonald. And I think if you're the Jets, you're swinging for the superstar here. Reese could be that guy. Now, he needs to be coached up, but you could do a lot of different things with him. And I like the idea of the Jets getting that type of player. I won't be that upset necessarily if they take Bailey, but if it's like, oh, the safe pick for Aaron Glenn, I don't know. Let's see what Muji wants to do, if it's truly his decision here.
Hey, here's the deal. Just got no chance unless you click on that like button. And you got to make sure you subscribe to the Jake Asman Show. You don't, you can get the f*** out. Now let's go, Asmaniacs. We're built for this shit.